Hello, I'm Adam from Adam Curated Travels, and today we are going to be planning a 7-day itinerary for Costa Rica. I know there's a lot of content out there about these great vacations travel influencers are having in Costa Rica, but how do we actually plan that trip? If you're somebody who's never been to Costa Rica before, or maybe never traveled internationally before, this video is for you. If you forget anything that we covered today, I will link a 7-day itinerary in the comments below, so please feel free to check that out and download that. Let's go ahead and start with the overview of what this trip is going to entail. So this itinerary assumes that you're going to be flying into the San Jose International Airport. From here, you'll either rent a car or take your private shuttle to La Fortuna. La Fortuna is a 2.5 to 3 hour drive depending on traffic from San Jose. We recommend that you stay 2 days in La Fortuna. There's a lot to do here and is known for its waterfalls, beautiful views of the Arenal volcano. Accommodations here are great. You can spend some great time relaxing in the hot springs, soaking up the views of the volcano. On the 4th day of your trip, we recommend you driving from La Fortuna up to Monteverde. This is a beautiful drive up into the cloud forest of Costa Rica, and Monteverde should be on everybody's itinerary. This is going to be a great place to do zip lining for those who are super adventurous. There's coffee tours. On day 6 of the itinerary, we recommend that you travel down to Manuel Antonio. It's a pristine beach in Costa Rica, known for its national park and truly unforgettable. Here we will offer a detour though. For those who are more interested in nightlife, we will recommend instead of Manuel Antonio, you go to Tamarindo. I've been to both places and they are both a blast. You can't go wrong in either place. However, Manuel Antonio does lack some of the nightlife that Tamarindo excels in. Both have beautiful beaches, both will be great for sunsets. It just depends on what you want from your trip. And then finally, day 7 of your trip, you will make the trek back to San Jose, and we do have some recommendations for your drive on the way back to San Jose. A couple of things we should cover. You will need a passport to go to Costa Rica. There are no visa requirements for when you travel to Costa Rica. You might see some things online about paying an exit tax when you leave Costa Rica. That used to be the case. However, now it is baked into your airline ticket, so you won't have to do anything else whenever you're leaving the airport. The next thing, when should I go there? There is a rainy season in Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica in the rainy season and in the dry season. Rarely notice a difference between the two seasons. Generally, it's going to rain in Costa Rica for an hour or two in the afternoons, and that's just something you have to plan your day around. That being said, if you do want to stick to the dry season, you're going to want to be there between December and April. That is technically the dry season in Costa Rica. So May through November is the rainy season. One thing I will say about traveling during the dry season versus the wet season is that it's going to generally be less crowded during the rainy season, and prices are going to be a little bit more affordable. So, if you're somebody who doesn't mind dealing with a little bit of rain, I say book it during the rainy season. Save yourself a little bit of money, enjoy the relaxed nature of things. Regardless, you're going to have a great trip. We should also talk about prices in Costa Rica. Don't expect for things to be significantly cheaper in Costa Rica, especially in the tourist areas. You're going to pay average prices for accommodations and food. So I'm talking about $100 or so a night, depending on your desires for comfortability in an accommodation. Although you can go cheaper if you don't mind doing hostels, and we'll point out some of those later. And as far as food goes, I would say typically budget around $20 per meal. You should be able to eat cheaper than that, but if you want to splurge occasionally or have some appetizers, that will make sure that you're covered for your trip. All right, so the next thing that we're going to cover is where should we fly into for Costa Rica. There are 2 main hubs you can fly into Costa Rica. San Jose is the biggest airport, so there's going to be more connections out of the United States to San Jose. Very likely that you're going to fly into this airport. The second option for flying into Costa Rica is to fly into the Guanacaste region just outside the city of Iberia, and there is an international airport here. If your local airport has a connecting flight to this location, it could definitely be an easy one for you to fly into. It is just slightly off of the itinerary that we are going to be going over today, but grabbing a car, you should be able to quickly hop right into this itinerary. This is also an ideal airport for people, I would say, who are not interested in this video. If you are a resort goer, there's a lot of easy connections from this airport to a lot of the main all-inclusive resorts, and you can stay put and do that. But this is an itinerary for adventurers. We will be recommending that you rent a car, and you will be diving into several ideal adventure locations in Costa Rica. I do recommend that you drive a car in Costa Rica. Speed limits are slower than the United States. The roads roads are small and sometimes windy. However, I found it to be relatively easy to drive there. I've been with people who were new to the country and they've had no issues driving there. That being said, if you're not super confident in your driving abilities, especially outside of the United States, if it's something you've never done before, you might want to look into a shuttle or hiring a driver for your trip, especially if you're going with a larger group of people. Let's say some type of family reunion and you have maybe 10 people. Renting a private bus and a driver could really make your trip that much more relaxing because you can just sit back, enjoy the sights, and let somebody else take care of the driving. That being said, if you're up for the adventure, driving in Costa Rica is very relaxing. You can stop wherever and whenever you want. I have full confidence that you'll be able to do it. All right, let's jump a little bit further into the nitty-gritty of the itinerary. Upon arriving in Costa Rica, depending on what time your flight arrives, you may need to stay the night, get a rental car, and head out in the morning. As you can tell from the map, the roads are windy, so I would only recommend driving at night if you feel very confident in your driving outside of the US abilities. Other than that, wait till the morning, get your rental car, and truly enjoy the views on the way up there. So as you can see, it's about a 2 to 3 hour drive to get there. Once you get into the beautiful town of La Fortuna, you will appreciate the drive that you just made. There are plenty of accommodations in La Fortuna. Use your favorite booking tool to find some. Stay at the actual hot springs resort if you want something a little fancier, or check out Airbnb to see if there's any local listings. I've always stayed in hotels in La Fortuna and I've never experienced a bad one. Typically, whenever I'm staying in the La Fortuna area, I like to stay just a little bit outside of town, more towards the hot springs and the road that we'll be taking up to Monteverde eventually. When you're looking for your accommodations, feel free to look outside of the town of La Fortuna. You'll have a rental car, so access along this road is really easy and convenient. Day 2 in La Fortuna, we recommend a couple of things. One is the Fortuna waterfall. Absolutely stunning. These pictures here are from up above when you first get there, and here is a view of the waterfall from almost to the bottom. You can see some people diving in and swimming around the waterfall down here. Absolutely stunning. Highly recommend. This should definitely be on your itinerary if you're going to be in the La Fortuna area. There is some hiking. Here's a spoiler of the Arenal volcano. Some of the beautiful trees that you'll see while hiking around Arenal. Beautiful hike, especially if you want to get out and stretch your legs. There are several hot springs, as you can see from this map along the road. I have not been to all of them, but I will show you Baldi. This was the original one that I went to years ago. There are different heated levels of pools as you move throughout the park. There's water slides, which is a lot of fun, and some great indoor areas, bars, relaxing areas. Baldi is a great place. As I mentioned, you can stay here. As you can see from the quick price here, this is in euros, but almost the same in US dollars. It is a little pricey to stay here, but given the fact that you get access to the spa and the swimming pools, it could be worth it for your trip. Some of these other hot springs might be enjoyable. So the resorts have capitalized on the local access to the river water and the hot springs and made some really enjoyable places for people to swim. Here's an interesting call out to those who are adventurous and want to venture off the beaten path even further. As you continue along 142, this road here that comes out of La Fortuna, there are several access points to the hot springs. The hot springs come up from the ground there in the La Fortuna area. They're heated by the volcano. If you want to just jump in the thermal rivers, they are there for you to access along 142. Be mindful of parking. Don't park in the road, and keep an eye out for your belongings. Store things out of sight in your car, take things with you, etc. Never had any issues there in Costa Rica, but just a smart tip for anybody traveling internationally. Another place that we recommend checking out in the La Fortuna area is the hanging bridges. There are going to be some opportunities to do this in Monteverde, so it would be lower on the priority list for me, but the views are absolutely stunning. You really start to get into some of that cloud forest that we're really going to see in Monteverde, but of course here you'll get the views to the volcano. Absolutely stunning. Again, depending on how adventurous you are and how diligent you are with your time, another beautiful thing to do would be to go tubing in the Rio Celeste. As you can see here, it is about a 1.5 hour drive from La Fortuna, so a little bit further away, but if you're somebody who really loves adventure, tubing in Costa Rica is absolutely amazing. I've done it a few times and I've always enjoyed myself. Day 4 of the trip includes the transfer to Monteverde. As you can see, this is about a 3-hour drive, and trust me, it will take that long. Again, the speed limits in Costa Rica are slower and you are going to be going up a windy mountain road into Monteverde. The views here are phenomenal. You're gonna go around Lake Arenal and really get to take in the volcano, and then you will arrive in the cloud forest of Monteverde. Once you are in Monteverde, I recommend dropping off your gear and getting back out there and enjoying everything that Costa Rica has to offer. Definitely recommend checking out the Cloud Forest, the nature preserve that the town is there for. The tickets are available online. This is going to be the same for both Monteverde and Manuel Antonio. You're going to want to purchase these tickets through the official vendors online. Great thing about Costa Rica, almost everything can be purchased online ahead of time just by clicking the Google Maps listing there. They have guided nature walks, which is a fantastic way to have somebody be able to point out the sites and animals that are there, things that you might miss if you're not accustomed to looking for. The night walk, certain animals and bugs come out only at night, and so it's exciting to be able to go out and experience that. Some great information here on their website, letting you know to arrive early, where to park, take shuttles at your scheduled departure time, walk quietly and stay on the trails. Costa Rica is really big into their ecotourism, but that being said, do your part to make sure that those who come after you can enjoy the same. For dinner one night in Monteverde, there is a really fantastic restaurant, the Tree House. There's literally a tree in the middle of the restaurant. It is just absolutely a good time, one that I highly recommend people checking out. The tree is literally coming through the restaurant, and it just really makes you a little bit more connected to nature, which is what everything is about when you're in Costa Rica, right? As you can see from the map, there are a lot of coffee tours and related shops in Monteverde. The one that I recommend is Don Juan Tours for their coffee and chocolate sugarcane group tour. Check them out. Don Juan offers great coffee tours. As you can see here, they have different options for your tours: coffee tour, chocolate tour, sugarcane tour, coffee tour, chocolate tour, night walk tour, and you get the idea. I highly recommend it. As somebody who loves coffee, it's great to see the behind the scenes of how coffee comes together, and believe me, Costa Rica coffee is some of the best coffee. So day 5 can be spent doing coffee tours. You can also do ziplining tours, canopy tours. Here's one that I have done before, the original canopy tour from Monteverde. So much fun doing ziplining, especially if you've never done it before, or if you've done it but not in a serene location as Costa Rica. Trust me, it is a lot of fun. They have tons of different lengths, and it is just something unreal to be soaring above the jungles of Costa Rica on a zipline. Day 6, so your itinerary is moving along. We're rounding down to the end of our trip now, but don't worry, we still have some great locations to visit. So we'll start the drive in Monteverde, and we will drive down to Manuel Antonio Beach. So at this point, you can kind of start to see we have done somewhat of a triangle from San Jose up to La Fortuna, around to Monteverde and Manuel Antonio, and then we will head back into San Jose afterwards. The drive from Monteverde down to Manuel Antonio is absolutely stunning. There are some great beaches along the way. Hermosa Beach is great. There will be tons of restaurants along the coast, so make sure you keep an eye out for a restaurant that has a view that you like and pull over and grab a bite to eat on your drive. So let's check out Manuel Antonio. Manuel Antonio is the name of a national park here in Costa Rica. We'll go to that in just a second, but it's very likely that you're going to be staying in the town of Quepos. Whenever you're looking for your accommodations, don't limit yourself just to Manuel Antonio. Quepos is a 5 or 10 minute drive away, a little bit bigger of a city, so there will be more options for accommodations there. Here's an accommodation that I recommend in Quepos, Manuel Antonio area. We were fortunate to stay here a few years ago. There were 3 bedrooms, infinity edge pool, looking out over the jungle, absolutely stunning. These photos are not photoshopped. This is what the house looks like. Absolutely stunning. Highly, highly recommend. We found them on Airbnb. However, you can go to manuelantonioestates.com and check them out there. They have several other accommodations along this road in case this house is booked up during your trip. I'm not sponsored by Manuel Antonio Estates, just highly enjoyed our time there and would recommend it to anybody. One of the great things about staying in this neighborhood was access to Cascada El Salatos, private waterfall that we were able to walk down to. A little bit of a grueling hike, to be honest. It is not a well-maintained trail, but once you get to the bottom, absolutely worth it. Feel free to check out any accommodations in the Quepos and Manuel Antonio area. For spending time on the beach in Manuel Antonio, you can hang out here at Espadilla Beach for free. Very nice beach. There's lots of restaurants and vendors and things along this street for you to check out. And as you drive through Manuel Antonio, there will be signs for where to park for the nature reserve. Be aware that there are people who are hanging out ahead of the actual legitimate parking lot for Manuel Antonio, trying to offer you guide services, etc. Just keep driving and you will reach reach the official parking lot, the road essentially comes to an end and you are at the official parking lot and you can park there for the day. I recommend buying tickets ahead online for Manuel Antonio. They offer different time slots for you to show up at the park, and you really want to make sure you get there during your time and that you have a ticket ahead of time instead of showing up and finding out that the park is at capacity that day. Also, whenever you buy the tickets online, when you pull into park, you're not prompted to pay there. They will still ask you if you want to buy an additional guide for the day. For Manuel Antonio, I don't recommend having a guide, especially if you've already done the nature walk in Monteverde. The walk down to the beach is a really simple walk. You can do more jungle walking while you are in Manuel Antonio, but I think the purpose of this is really just to enjoy the beach, and for that I don't think you need a guide. As you enter Manuel Antonio, you are going to walk this trail for maybe a mile or so. There's some restaurants and bathrooms right before you come down the hill to the beach. And as you can see, you're kind of out here on a peninsula. So the main beach is on this side. This is where everybody will be hanging out. But I do recommend that you hop back on the trail and head back up towards the peninsula. There are some overlook points up here. We've seen monkeys running around. It's something truly beautiful. You can also come to the other side of the peninsula. There's a smaller beach there, which is not as serene and beautiful for swimming. Probably leave the swimming to this side, but just make sure that you take advantage of everything here in Manuel Antonio. All right, then day 7, your trip comes to an end. You'll have a 3-hour car ride back from Manuel Antonio to San Jose, maybe a little bit less if you're staying in Quepos. Something that should be on your itinerary anytime you are driving from Manuel Antonio to San Jose is the Crocodile Bridge. There are crocodiles hanging out in the water, and you can stop at the gift shop, take some funny pictures as we see here. You can also walk out on the bridge and look down and see the crocodiles. So I highly recommend breaking up your road trip with a stop here and taking a look at the crocodiles. Now for our optional variant, for those who prefer a little bit more nightlife, let's check out Tamarindo. From Monteverde, it is just over a 3-hour drive out to Tamarindo. Tamarindo is an absolutely beautiful town, a lot of nightlife, and being a little bit more north in Costa Rica, you're closer to the Guanacaste region, which is more drier and a little less jungle. Don't let that take away from any of the beauty that is Tamarindo in Costa Rica. So when you hang out here in Tamarindo, as you can see, seeing some wine places here, I would recommend staying anywhere in the Tamarindo area. There are some resorts and boutique hotels out here in Playa Lagonsta. If you are somebody trying to save a little bit of money and want a little bit more of a party environment, highly recommend staying at La Oveja Surf House. It is a hostel with traditional dormitories as well as some private rooms with 2 or 3 beds in them. There's also a restaurant and bar out front. The bar does close a little bit earlier than some of the other clubs or bars in the area, but it's a great place to start your night out at. For those of you that are big surfers, Tamarindo is also a great surf spot, so make sure you rent a board and get out there. And if you're really into surf culture, you might have heard of the movie Endless Summer. Robert August is one of the main guys in Endless Summer, and he is known to have put Tamarindo on the map, and you might see him around town while you're there. Another cool thing to do when you're in Tamarindo is to gain what little elevation you can there on the beach and head up to this overlook here, Mirador de Tamarindo 2. At sunset, you will find people hanging out there with their picnics, a couple beers, and just enjoying the sunset. Beautiful, beautiful place, and if you have time, highly recommend that you work it into your itinerary. Those of you electing to go to Tamarindo instead will have a little bit longer of a drive back to San Jose, just over 4 hours, but totally doable and a nice way to wrap up your time in Costa Rica. So there we have it, 7-day itinerary for your trip to Costa Rica. With this, you should be able to confidently make your bookings and get out there and see the world. If you want a PDF of everything we've covered today, check the first link in the description. I'll have it listed there. I appreciate you guys. Comment if you have any questions. If you have any places that you want me to make itineraries for next. Travel is something I'm super passionate about, and I would love to explore some new places together. I will see you guys on the next one.